everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to today's video where I thought with keeping your distance being such a hot topic these days, we would go into my collection and take a look back at some of the original technology that allowed you to keep your distance, and by that I am talking about the double player wireless controller system for the NES made by Acclaim, but given the official seal of quality from Nintendo. And yeah, I mean, wireless controllers have become such a staple of playing video games today, but it's definitely not something you think of, being in existence back around the NES days. Personally, when I started using wireless controllers was around the Wavebird, GameCube days, and this is just such a fantastic controller. But how do controllers from way back then stack up to the controllers that we have today? It claims to be able to be accurate to up to 30 feet away, so that's about 10 meters for my metric friends out there. It includes a slow motion feature, rapid fire buttons. It's gonna be interesting to have a look at. So what I want to do is unbox this, see what you would have got if you had bought this back in the day, and then we're definitely going to hook it up and see just if these claims are true. So let's have a look at the double player wireless head-to-head system. Alright, so before we open it up, let's just have a little bit of a closer look at what's going on the box. These two guys are having a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the controllers do not shoot red lasers at the screen, which doesn't really help if it was shooting it at the screen, because it's the receiver that needs to be receiving that infrared light. And that infrared, the fact that it uses infrared light as its way of communicating, will be important when we look at, how well it actually works. On the back though, it shows, a nice close-up of the controllers we're about to see inside the box anyway, and also the receiver. And these two guys are about to, have a good battle in some kind of game. Let's see, what exactly did we get here? Playing games on your Nintendo Entertainment System will never be the same. The two-player set of wireless controllers that really gives you and a friend the power to move, especially when playing games with head-to-head two-player action. Now, the NES controller length is not that bad. Like, the Famicom, pretty bad. NES, you get about 6 feet of cord, so like you can already sit back pretty far from your TV. So if this doesn't work from at least 6 feet away, you are being totally ripped off. But with that said, let us actually unbox this thing here. Carefully open the flap up, and we can now pull it out like this. And as you can see, we get a nice styrofoam block here. This is before they started moving the cardboard and all that, just a nice big styrofoam thing. And also, there's even kind of a little sheet of styrofoam that gets placed on top. These so easily get broken and thrown out. So if you ever buy something in the box that still has that, you're in pretty good shape. And then, of course, we have the contents here. This is inside a plastic bag. Unfortunately, I believe there's probably supposed to be instructions. This is actually more of an advertisement, however. If I can ever get it out of the bag. There we go. That there, and you even get a postcard where you can send in and tell them how you think their controller works. The Masters of Game, and of course you get some advertisements for some Acclaim games on there. And on the back, you actually get advertising for some VCR games. And I do not own these. I don't even think I've ever actually seen any of these. Games that utilize the VCR are usually not the best, because it's usually a matter of, the VCR, the tape on it never changes. So usually once you've seen it once, you can kind of predict what's going to happen. But sometimes they actually use VCRs and VHS tapes in kind of creative ways to create a game. So I'd be interesting to ever, someday get my hands on one of those. Maybe they're not so bad. But this is what we're really here for. The controllers inside of the box, all still having the plastic on them. Let us take one out. And here you go. This is what you can expect from your Acclaim double player controller. Your D-pad, which is definitely kind of stiff. I don't know if you can see that just from me trying to use it here, but it definitely does not feel as nice as an NES controller D-pad. Maybe that's because this hasn't been used too much. Maybe it would loosen up a little, after being played for 100 hours or two. But at the moment, it definitely does not feel as nice as pressing the D-pad on your official NES controller. Start and select buttons, pretty basic. B and A buttons. The turbo buttons are actually not buttons, but rather switches that get pushed down, and now by having that locked into place, this button here acts as turbo, where when that's not locked down, this B button will just act as your ordinary B button, and the same with the A turbo button. So that's kind of an interesting change, where usually the turbo on a controller is like, you hold a separate button and get turbo from that, where this is instead, you push it down, you push it up, push it down, push it up kind of thing. Slow motion, as I mentioned, many retro controllers that have a slow motion feature, it actually just is basically a start button rapid fire button, where it will just, pause and unpause. since back then pause menus typically weren't much more than just, you know, making the screen freeze momentarily, so that's their idea of pausing. And this right here we have off. If it's in the middle, it's going to act as the one-player controller, and if it's at the top, it's going to act as the second player controller, so nothing too complicated there. This is where our infrared light's going to come from, so we need to make sure that's pointed at the receiver. And in terms of batteries, as the box said, each controller takes 4 AAA batteries, and 2 go into the top left and 2 go into the top right with little latches here that slide off, and then your 2 batteries slide in. You can't lose this because it's not going to work otherwise. So yeah, each controller requires 4 batteries. Let me just get this back on here. There we go. And the other side is identical. So you're going to be eating through batteries like it's nobody's business, unfortunately. But that is one of the controllers. Both controllers, as far as I can see, are identical. It's just a matter of, you know, you can use the switch in the middle to determine if you want this to be the first or second controller. And then in the center here, we have the receiver that plugs into your NES. There are 2 different ports here, although one of the cords has a white line on it, and I believe that is the one that goes into your first player slot. Let me make sure this isn't tangled up here. So this cord has the white line, that's going to be player 1, where this one that has no white line will go into the player 2 slot, and then it's not very long, unfortunately, so you need to make sure you have a nice spot in front of your NES to place this, because this is, again, going to have to receive the signals that are coming from the controllers as you use them. So, with that said, I think it's time to actually give these a shot. Not too much in here, unfortunately. Again, I don't have the instruction manual, but it would probably just be a bunch of, you know, mumbo-jumbo that we don't really need to worry too much about, and I think it's time to actually give these things a shot. So, let's do it! Alright, so let's give this a shot. According to the measuring tape, it's about 5 feet from where I am sitting right here to the receiver in front of the TV. We have our controller switched to number 1, which is in the middle. And yeah, let's just see how well this thing actually works. Do not mind the squeaky couch. It's from like the 60s. So, pointing directly at the thing, pressing the start button now. Okay, actually worked. So far so good. It's like I said, this is about probably 4 to 5 feet away. Let's see how far back we can go though while it still works. And my test for that is going to be, we're going to set the A rapid fire button to on. And let's see how far back we can move when he's not going to jump. So I'm actually holding the A button right now, which should be doing rapid fire. I have not at all touched the start button, so I have no idea why it just paused. So if I press the actual start button, why did it... Slow-mo is not on, is it? No, it was not on. If I turn slow-mo on... Okay, so I'm going to turn it off now. And I'm going to hold A again. And he is properly... But I did not press start at all! Why is it think it's doing start? So what, again, is happening is infrared light is being sent from the top of the controller here to that sensor in front of the TV, or rather in front of the console, but it seems to not be getting the correct signal all the time, and now it looks like it's probably select paused, which is something you can do in the original Mega Man, a way to pause that doesn't bring up the weapon screen, and everyone knows that that trick is used to beat the Yellow Devil super simply. Okay, what do I want to try now? What if I tried Rapid Fire B? Okay, I'm still holding the B button though. I have no idea why he's moving and like the game is pausing when I'm not even pressing those buttons. Okay, so let's test. Okay, so the D-pad right does not appear to be working. Nothing again appears to be working from here. What if I turn it off and turn it back on? How close do I have to get for it to be accurate? Okay, so from this distance, from a distance of about 2 feet, literally 2 feet, it seems to work somewhat accurately. This is the most bizarre thing. Oh my gosh, and now you can't even see what I'm doing because I'm sitting like right in front of the TV. Okay, no! Why are you pausing? I am not pressing any of those buttons. Hopefully on my cell phone camera you can see. Wow, this is an awful controller. This is an absolutely... Oh, an extra life! Wow, I actually got the extra life. Somehow managed to do that. And this is just unresponsive garbage. The A button... Okay. Unpause, please. So what I really want to do now is, if I get right up to here, can you see that Mega Man is rapid fire jumping? I'm now going to move back, and let's see how long this lasts for. Say we're probably about... Okay, now he's just jumping all over the place. I did not press start again. This is some hot garbage. Alright, moving back. We're probably almost at 3 feet. Again, I did not press the start button, and the slow-mo button is not pressed down. So you cannot even accurately play with this from like 5 feet away. That is what I am getting here. I am pressing everything from here, and nothing is working. And again, about the 5 feet point. And just nothing is happening. And it paused again for some reason. So that's really bad. The box is a complete lie. I don't know if I've ever seen such a blatant lie on a box before. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, if you've ever used these, I would love to hear your experience, but mine, not so great, as you can see. So with that is what you can expect from the double player wireless head-to-head system. Are any of the claims on the front of the box true? Well, slow motion feature, I mean, it is what pretty much every controller that had a slow motion feature was back in the day, where it's pretty much just, you know, mashing that start button constantly. There is the game action replay I made a video about last year that actually did have true slow motion, where it's not just pausing constantly, but does actually slow your games down. That's rather cool if you want to, you know, actually slow down what's going on. Turbo and rapid fire, it did have that, but accurate up to 30 feet away, you're lucky to get, you know, 10 feet out of this thing. Maybe even 5 feet's kind of a stretch. So that's kind of a lie. And from what I've seen online, it's not like it's deteriorated over the years or anything like that. People have just always claimed that this always sucked. So I feel very bad for anyone who unfortunately bought it back in the day. But I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the original technology out there that allowed us to keep our distance before it was all the rage in the modern era. So with that said, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. And I hope you'll join me next time when we have a look at something different. So thanks and see you later. Thank you so much once again for taking the time to check out my content. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it helps my channel grow. And I also have a Patreon page where everything that I receive goes towards making the quality of my work even better. So thanks again, and hope to see you next time.